punctual today, aren't we?
Hold your applause. I lurked outside the cafe for a solid 10 minutes before mustering the courage to walk in.
Whatever for. Afraid I might devour you alive?
You were so intensely engrossed in your phone, I feared a sudden entrance would startle you. Truthfully, I was just stalling for time.
I knew it. Spoken like the true emperor of procrastination.
I wouldn't dare claim the throne. Just a man with a certain depth of experience.
And where exactly did you amass this wealth of experience?
From the relentless tides of life, where else? Picture this. The alarm pierces the silence at 7 in the morning.
And then? Do you spring out of bed for a brisk workout?
I crack an eye open and whisper to my soul, 2 more minutes of slumber couldn't possibly hurt.
And those 2 fleeting minutes magically morph into?
An hour and a half. Pure, unadulterated witchcraft, I tell you.
A tale as old as time. We've all wielded that dark superpower at least once.
The saga continues. I also possess an exceptional talent for self-negotiation.
Elaborate, please.
Just 5 more minutes of sleep, and I solemnly swear to work twice as hard this afternoon.
And does this afternoon labor ever materialize?
Absolutely not. But in the moment of the vow, my devotion is profoundly sincere.
You are unequivocally a premium subscriber to empty promises.
That's mere child's play. The true zenith of my craft reveals itself when it's time to clean my room.
What unfolds during room cleaning?
I ponder. I must summon some melodies to set the proper ambiance.
Perfectly logical. A little music to fend off the sheer monotony.
Thus, I open the app for a playlist. The playlist seduces me into a short video. That video then drags me down the rabbit hole of another related video.
And the grand culmination is?
I snap out of my trance, only to find my phone gasping for life at a mere 13% battery.
And the room? Is it gleaming with spotless perfection?
The room remains a chaotic wasteland. But in exchange, I've unlocked the mysteries of why penguins shun the desert, and exactly how the ancients erected the pyramids.
Ah, a magnificent expansion of intellect, paired with a productivity level of absolute 0.
Tell me, do you never partake in the art of procrastination?
Of course I do, but I have my own signature method. Whenever I receive a text demanding a grave, thoughtful response,
Yes, do go on.
I read it, absorb it, and let it marinate in silence.
Whatever for.
Because I wish to contemplate it profoundly, to craft an impeccably considerate reply.
And how long does this grand contemplation last? An hour?
Considerably longer.
An entire day?
A mere drop in the ocean. Sometimes it spans an entire week.
Heavens above. And what becomes of the finale?
By the time it resurfaces in my memory, it's far too late. Stricken with guilt, I simply embrace eternal silence to spare myself the sheer mortification.
Prompting them to eventually text back. Are you still among the living? Am I right?
A flawless deduction.
Oh, I have another trick up my sleeve. Drafting a majestic to-do list.
Mapping it out to conquer tasks systematically? That's quite commendable.
Nonsense. I squander a full 20 minutes meticulously selecting the perfect, aesthetically pleasing ink colors.
And then?
Another 10 minutes dedicated to drawing immaculate margins and placing exquisite stickers. The list transforms into an avant-garde masterpiece, worthy of a gallery exhibition.
And has a single syllable of actual labor been executed?
Not even commenced.
My friend, that is not time management. That is the opulent decoration of procrastination.
A brilliantly coined phrase, elevating sheer laziness into a certified profession.
You certainly harbor a gift for soothing your own conscience.
And don't get me started on physical fitness. Once, armed with fierce determination, I booted up a workout tutorial.
Did you actually break a sweat following it?
Heavens, no. Upon finishing the routine video, I seamlessly pivoted to a warm-up tutorial, then a guide on selecting the optimal footwear, and finally, a deep dive into post-workout culinary regimens.
And the grand finale?
I grew utterly exhausted, and resolved to postpone the actual exercise until the morrow.
Did this fabled workout actually manifest the following day?
The next day, I was entirely preoccupied watching a documentary on how to conquer laziness and sustain unyielding motivation.
You are utterly beyond redemption, yet it is rather perplexing, isn't it? We frequently squander colossal amounts of energy, simply evading the inevitable.
That strikes a remarkably deep chord.
Much like lingering in agonizing deliberation for 20 minutes, agonizing over whether to wash the dishes,
When plunging one's hands into the suds would vanquish the chore in a mere 5 minutes.
or squandering an entire evening in relentless pursuit of study inspiration when simply flipping open the textbook would suffice.
Our brains inherently crave the labyrinthine detour, but what drives this madness?
I don't believe it's pure laziness. It's because our minds conjure grotesque exaggerations, painting the task as exhaustingly intricate and perilous.
Precisely. Yet the moment we initiate the action, it proves infinitely more manageable than our dread had envisioned.
Akin to making a critical phone call. Beforehand, your heart pounds and your knees tremble, but afterward you think, well, that was delightfully simple. Why was I spiraling into panic?
Spot on, which is precisely why I have formulated an unbreakable rule.
And what golden rule might that be?
If a task demands less than 2 minutes, execute it immediately, without a second thought.
And for the monumental undertakings?
Fracture them into fragments. Banish the daunting thought of, I must sterilize this entire room today. Merely focus on impeccably folding a single garment first.
Quite brilliant. Once you raise your hands to fold the first shirt, a natural momentum propels you toward the second.
The ultimate adversary is not the sheer volume of labor, but that paralyzing fraction of a second just before commencement.
Indubitably. Simply crossing the threshold of the starting line causes the entire fortress of procrastination to crumble.
Just this morning, I orchestrated a glorious triumph using that exact methodology.
What grand conquest was this? Summiting Mount Everest?
Strikingly close. I washed the solitary mug that had been festering in the sink for 3 arduous days. It felt tantamount to completing a monumental architectural marvel.
Ha! All hail the victorious champion! So, are there any other mega projects currently languishing in delay?
Indubitably, the summoning of another decadent plate of pastries.
And what on earth could possibly justify procrastinating on that?
I was on the verge of whispering to myself, perhaps I shall wait 5 more minutes before ordering.
Cease this madness at once, your majesty. If you continue to dawdle, the neighboring table will undoubtedly commandeer all the finest cakes.
Heavens, let me rectify this instantly. Waiter, we urgently require some pastries over here.
You see, sometimes the most potent motivation is remarkably primal.
The mere threat of culinary deprivation is enough to vaporize all traces of lethargy.
You just proclaimed that your paramount motivation is the paralyzing fear of running out of exquisite cake, correct?
Spot on. It is the absolute guiding philosophy of my existence.
Then what of the motivation to find a romantic partner? Hello, why the sudden deafening silence?
I am currently deploying the profound art of stalling we discussed in Part 1.
Evading the interrogation once more.
This subject matter is highly sensitive. One erroneous syllable, and I shall be subjected to your relentless mockery for a solid month.
Rest assured, this is merely a gentle inquiry. Exactly how long have you been wandering the desert of singlehood?
Long enough that the esoteric algorithms of my music apps exclusively recommend heartbreak anthems, despite my having absolutely no one to be heartbroken over.
You cannot be serious?
Just the other day, it audaciously presented an entire playlist titled Perfectly Fine Alone. It felt as though the artificial intelligence was personally attempting to coddle my wounded spirit.
Algorithms these days possess an uncanny psychological depth, piercing right through into the user's melancholic soul.
They pierce so deeply that it periodically sends a genuine shiver down my spine.
Tell me, do you ever find yourself struck by a pang of sheer loneliness?
Fleetingly, particularly during festive holidays, when I scroll through social media only to be bombarded by radiant couples flaunting their romantic escapades, holding hands in sickeningly warm embraces.
And what of the mundane, everyday life?
On ordinary days, I am entirely consumed by the existential dread of deciding what to feast upon for lunch and dinner. By the time I decide, the day has vanished.
How incredibly, brutally pragmatic of you.
And what is your excuse? So dazzling and effortlessly witty, yet you continue to reside within the ranks of the solitary club.
Alas, I remain solitary. Truthfully, there have been suitors, but the rhythm never seemed to harmonize.
I am certain they merely brand you as devastatingly picky, armed with impossibly high standards.
That is a fallacy. I merely yearn for someone in whose presence I can exist authentically, liberated from the exhausting facade of perfection.
That sounds deceivingly simple, yet it remains the most Herculean quest of all.
Precisely. You encounter gentlemen who are impeccably groomed and agonizingly polite, yet after 3 sentences, their linguistic well runs completely dry, birthing an atmosphere of sheer, excruciating awkwardness.
Or the terrifying breed who, on the maiden voyage of a first date, aggressively interrogates, "Do you possess a concrete strategy to acquire real estate before 30? Am I right?"
Oh, flawlessly accurate. I haven't even deciphered whether my destiny tonight entails noodles or rice, and they are demanding I manifest a comprehensive portfolio for a luxury condominium.
If we are sharing war stories, I was once coerced into a blind date orchestrated by well-meaning friends.
And the disastrous verdict? Do regale me with the tragic details.
The initial 10 minutes flowed with serene grace, until she unleashed the fatal inquiry, "Are you one to partake frequently in vigorous physical exertion?"
And how did you navigate that minefield? Do not tell me you confessed to being a stationary object.
Heavens, no. I smoothly countered with, "Absolutely, I am a paragon of regular, dynamic movement."
You spun a web of utter lies.
Not in the slightest. I spoke my absolute truth. Whenever my phone's battery perishes, I embark on a frantic hunt for a charger. When I abandon an item downstairs, I am forced to scale 3 grueling flights of stairs. If that isn't high-intensity interval training, what is?
Ha ha! Good heavens above! No mortal could possibly withstand such a grueling athletic regimen. And how did she digest this revelation?
She offered an impeccably polite smile, drained her glass of water, and vanished into the ether. I have not received a solitary text from her since.
It appears your unparalleled wit was simply too scorching a tempest for her to navigate.
But have you ever observed this glaring phenomenon? The chronically single are perpetually tormented by one universal, inescapable interrogation.
The infamous, when are you finally going to find someone, I presume?
Precisely. I have endured it with such dizzying frequency that I have essentially programmed an automated, robotic defense mechanism.
Do enlighten me. What is this automated response?
When the monumental event occurs, I shall publish an official decree in the National Gazette. Or, alternatively, the pertinent dossiers are currently undergoing rigorous administrative review.
Ha! Absolutely and delightfully absurd.
During the Lunar New Year, my aunt sharply inquired, "With a visage like yours, how is it you still haven't paraded anyone home for inspection?"
And how did you parry such a lethal strike?
I coolly replied, "My dear aunt, I have suspended a banner for an absolute rock-bottom clearance sale, yet mysteriously, 0 transactions have been finalized."
Did she graciously grant you mercy after that?
She mercilessly retorted, "Perhaps you ought to conduct a thorough audit of the product's fundamental quality before slashing the price."
Ouch! An utterly devastating critical counterstrike delivered straight from your own aunt.
It inflicted agonizing emotional trauma, but I was forced to maintain a hollow, grimacing smile.
I possess a companion who, at the dawn of every single month, makes a wildly theatrical proclamation. Oh, this month, romantic conquest is an absolute certainty.
And what tragedy unfolds by the month's end?
By the month's twilight, she invariably posts a majestic photograph of milk tea overloaded with every conceivable topping, captioned with profound melancholy. Perfectly fine alone, bestowing a grand reward upon myself.
At the very least, she secures a temporary salvation through an intense influx of sugar and dairy.
Tell me, in your philosophical musings, does being single inherently equate to being lonely?
Not in the slightest. The two phenomena are worlds apart. Being single is merely an objective state of existence, whereas loneliness is a deeply agonizing sensation.
How incredibly profound.
There exist poor souls entangled in relationships who remain adrift in a sea of isolation. Conversely, there are solitary wanderers whose inner worlds are wildly liberated, rich, and vibrantly infinite.
Astoundingly true. There was a time when the mere specter of solitude terrified me to my core. But now, I have evolved into a master of reveling in its serenity.
And how, exactly, do you orchestrate this revelry?
I devour whichever cinematic masterpiece I desire without enduring a savage brawl over the remote control. I indulge in tongue-scorching spices without suffering a chorus of complaints. I drift into slumber and awaken entirely at the whims of my own chaotic desires.
But surely, should you stumble upon the right soul,
Then relinquishing those sacred sanctuaries of freedom would be an exceedingly worthy sacrifice to share with them.
I deeply admire that philosophical stance. Love is never about filling a desperate void of lack, but rather the magnificent desire to walk alongside a cherished co-adventurer.
You weave words with the gravitas of an ancient philosopher.
I assure you, I only achieved this dazzling moment of sudden enlightenment moments ago.
Has your imagination ever dared to conjure the absolute pinnacle of an ideal date?
Absolutely. Banish the cliché candles, wilting floral arrangements, and ostentatiously priced establishments. The zenith of romance is simply two souls conversing with such electric resonance that time itself dissolves into oblivion.
How exquisitely simple, yet profoundly warm. For me, the sole requirement is a person whose face is perpetually adorned with a radiant smile.
Whatever is the rationale behind that?
Individuals who smile frequently emit a blinding aura of pure, positive energy. Merely existing within their orbit causes the crushing gravity of life's burdens to instantly vaporize.
Even if this magnificent smile is triggered by my spectacularly bland attempts at humor,
Oh, that would render them all the more astonishingly wonderful.
I have arrived at a striking revelation. I once harbored the delusion that a romantic partner was the sole key to happiness. Now I comprehend that one must first master the arduous art of self-inflicted joy.
A flawless deduction. Only by doing so, upon plunging into love, can we offer our partner a bounty of joy, rather than condemning them to the grueling labor of manufacturing our happiness.
Listen to us. We sound as though we have ascended to the absolute peak of maturity.
It is undeniably the tragic consequence of being ruthlessly interrogated with, "When are you getting married?" that has violently accelerated our maturation.
So, if a brave soul were to launch that exact interrogation at you right this second, what lethal retort would you unleash?
I would deploy an unnervingly serene smile and declare, "The very moment the golden invitations are pressed, I shall hand-deliver one to you. As for the minor detail of when they shall actually be designed, that remains an eternal mystery."
A masterful evasion strategy. I, conversely, would proclaim, I am presently entangled in a tempestuous, polyamorous affair with my career, exquisite coffee, and luxurious weekend slumbers.
That bizarre triangular dynamic sounds overwhelmingly loyal and unshakably sustainable.
At the very least, none of the involved parties have demanded a dramatic separation from me yet. Though, the winds of fate are entirely unpredictable.
Unpredictable in what conceivable manner?
Perhaps, in some unforeseen dawn, a specter of a person will materialize, compelling me to voluntarily surrender an entire half of the pastry gracing this very table.
A mere pathetic half? You still fiercely hoard the other 50%?
Relinquishing the entire pastry? I assure you, my spiritual evolution has not yet breached that realm of unfathomable martyrdom.
Very well. It implies that a microscopic glimmer of hope remains entirely intact.
Hope is a perpetual, blazing inferno for love, and undoubtedly for that solitary, magnificent slice of cake languishing in the display case.
Has it ever dawned on you? The tapestry of our mundane, daily existence is utterly devoid of theatrical drama or cinematic grandiosity.
It truly is. Yet, by some bizarre sorcery, we possess a ceaseless, roaring torrent of trivialities to fiercely debate.
Precisely, because the most infinitesimally microscopic details invariably conjure the most roaring, unadulterated hilarity.
Take the chaotic events of this very morning. I obliterated a solid 15 minutes, frantically scouring the earth for my mobile device.
And where did this elusive piece of technology ultimately seek refuge? Entombed within the washing machine?
Not a chance. It was securely nestled right inside the pocket of the very jacket currently draped across my physical form.
Ha ha! You are spinning a web of deceit. You were swathed in the garment and entirely impervious to its gravitational pull?
I am tragically serious. I went so far as to commandeer my brother's device to dial my own number. It was only when a violent vibration erupted from my own chest that the humiliating truth dawned on me.
It is abundantly clear that your neurological center was still profoundly entrenched in a state of deep hibernation.
I suspect my biological mainframe was engrossed in a massive software update, leaving it utterly incapable of processing baseline reality.
My own intellect fares no better. Just yesterday, I wrenched open the refrigerator door and stood there, paralyzed in a mesmerized trance, glaring into the icy abyss for a solid minute.
Were you embarking on a desperate hunt for the arcane ingredients of some gastronomical masterpiece?
Heavens no! I simply stood there, my mind having completely and violently purged the very reason I breached the appliance in the first place.
And did you manage to excavate a single item from its chilly depths?
Not a solitary crumb. I firmly sealed the portal. Yet, precisely 5 minutes later, I materialized like a restless ghost in front of that very same refrigerator.
And your memory remained a barren wasteland?
An absolute, barren wasteland. I wager the refrigerator itself was plunged into an existential crisis. It was likely pondering, has this lunatic entirely lost her grip on sanity? She repeatedly opens and shuts my door as if conducting a frantic audit of my internal inventory.
Now, my particular curse involves the catastrophic inability to retain the names of freshly encountered acquaintances.
That is a plague that afflicts all of humanity. The very instant the introductory handshake concludes, their identity evaporates from your cerebral cortex without a trace.
The ultimate agony strikes when you are ensnared in an intimate, one-on-one dialogue. There is absolutely no third party present from whom you can stealthily eavesdrop and salvage the forgotten title,
resulting in an entire conversation where you are utterly paralyzed, resorting only to vague, phonetic approximations of titles, correct?
Exquisitely correct. It devolves into a desperate barrage of, hey, my friend, my brother, or retreating entirely into the cowardly sanctuary of highly ambiguous pronouns.
And how does this catastrophe manifest when saving their numerical contact information?
I encode them as the mysterious machinery repairman from the cafe. The glaring flaw in this system is that, moons later, I am entirely ignorant as to whether he services delicate printing apparatuses or industrial washing machines.
You are the sole architect of your own labyrinthine destruction. Now, what of embarking on expeditions to the supermarket? Are you frequently lured astray there as well?
Need you even ask? I march in with the singular, ironclad directive to acquire one solitary tube of toothpaste and initiate a rapid extraction.
Yet, the grim, undeniable reality is?
The agonizing reality is that, at the checkout counter, my arms are burdened with a colossal sack containing novelty bear biscuits, carbonated elixirs, exotic fruits, mountains of tissue, and utterly void of any dental paste whatsoever.
The supermarket wields an ancient, sinister sorcery, most notably the bewitched realm of the snack aisles.
Initially, one intends only a fleeting, investigative glance. Then, the psychological self-deception begins. Centuries have passed since this delicacy graced my palate, or the classic, I shall indulge this one final time, and commence a draconian diet at dawn.
Culminating in a shopping cart groaning under immense weight, while your financial resources evaporate into a state of absolute weightlessness.
Yet, I find myself profoundly enamored with these deeply idiotic interludes. They inject a vibrant chaos that prevents existence from becoming dreadfully barren.
A resounding agreement. If every waking dawn demanded flawless, machine-like precision, the well of our mutual, mocking laughter would undeniably run bone dry.
Akin to my tragic, accidental spilling of the coffee onto this very table earlier. Initially, a furious rage consumed me.
But that fury swiftly transmuted into bubbling amusement?
Precisely, for a mere 5 minutes prior, I had delivered a solemn internal monologue. Today, I shall exude the aura of an impeccably polished, elegant professional. The cosmos swiftly delivered a violent, humbling slap to awaken me from that delusion.
We are perpetually guilty of blowing trivialities into colossal melodramas. Yet, cast your gaze back merely a week later, and not a single soul can unearth the very catalyst of that fierce indignation.
Have you ever noticed the underlying pattern? The most explosively joyous memories invariably erupt from the utter destruction of carefully laid plans.
Indubitably, they are birthed from a catastrophic slip of the tongue, a disastrous navigational error, or an endlessly meandering coffee rendezvous such as this very one.
Initially, my grand strategy dictated a rigid 30-minute audience with you. Cast a glance at the timepiece now.
Good heavens! Has it truly been in excess of 2 hours? The relentless march of time is remarkably swift.
That is the inevitable consequence of conversing with an intellect on the identical wavelength. The very fabric of time accelerates to double its customary velocity.
I extend my deepest gratitude to you. By your sheer absurdity, I have been gifted an abundance of roaring laughter today.
The sentiment is entirely mutual. I have stumbled upon the realization that the essence of happiness is often shockingly uncomplicated.
It is distilled down to a masterfully brewed cup of coffee, a dialogue entirely devoid of pretentious posturing, and an audience perfectly willing to absorb an endless stream of absolute nonsense.
We have squandered an entire afternoon vehemently dissecting the most profoundly mundane subjects, yet the specter of boredom has not dared to approach.
Simply because the vast mosaic of life is painstakingly forged from these very ordinary fragments, one need only possess the grace to smile upon them.
Which seamlessly transitions us to the topic of smiling. Did you not command me earlier to secure another pastry?
Indeed, I did. Did that critical mission ever see the light of execution? Do not dare utter the words that our incessant babbling caused you to suffer amnesia.
It appears that is the precise tragedy that has unfolded. It was utterly obliterated from my mind.
Consequently, the fabled final pastry has undoubtedly been pilfered by the treacherous hands of another.
And thus, despite my profound doctoral thesis on the art of stalling, I have suffered a devastating defeat by the merciless blade of my own procrastination.
Have you managed to extract a solitary, grueling lesson paid for in blood from this disaster?
Undoubtedly, the most monumental lesson the cosmos can impart is this. In the grand theater of life, never, under any circumstances, delay the immediate requisition of cake.
Is that the absolute zenith of your wisdom?
And secondly, cease the foolish wait for a mythological perfect day to pursue your passions. Initiate action with the most minuscule of steps, and violently seize the enjoyment right here in the present.
That resonates with startling wisdom. Shall we reconvene at this very establishment next week?
An unbreakable pact. However, upon our next gathering, I shall aggressively order the pastry the exact millisecond my physical form makes contact with the chair.
We shall bear witness to whether you can actually emerge victorious over the crushing gravity of your own laziness.
Oh, you can bet on it. Should I arrive tardy or suffer another cake-ordering amnesia, consider it a magnificent new scandal for us to mercilessly mock during our next summit.
It is a sealed covenant then. I shall await your arrival next week.
Until then, and rest assured, the art of stalling is officially retired for our next encounter.